Greetings, everyone. Welcome back. ASHALA here, bringing you the Psychic Tarot Show. This is our weekly look ahead, a tarot forecast for this upcoming week, May the 18th to the 25th. Thank you so much for joining me here. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And also, if you would like to book a session with me, a psychic tarot reading session, 1-hour card reading, you can find me at the Beyond Mystic Consultations right here. And there's a coupon code in the banner below, which allows you to receive a 10% discount if you just use this Beyond Mystic coupon, Beyond Mystic all in capital letters. Yay. So let's look ahead at this week. I'm going to change our view a little bit here. So did you all get a bit of sunshine last week? Did you feel a little like you were walking on sunshine? I actually amazingly was able to get out and enjoy the sun a bit. You can see a bit of color in my face. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So many of you, some familiar faces, some new people. Lovely to have you joining us here. So this week, we are looking at, I'm sure Meg has shared more about this in her astrological update, but I just want to quickly mention that we have our full moon in Sagittarius. I believe it's coming through on the 23rd. And what I always like to say about full moons is that they bring a spotlight to whatever the energy is of that sign. And when we think about Sagittarius, you want to think about the part of you that is not really super afraid of much, right? It's the part of you, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. It's all about expansion. It's all about courage and spontaneity, kind of like a fearlessness and a willingness to be adventurous, to look at life from an adventurous perspective as opposed to a really fearful, limited perspective. So you could almost say that Sagittarian part of us is the most adventurous, expansive, open part of us, also really aligned with truth, justice, and sovereignty. So that part of ourselves is being highlighted. There's a spotlight on that this week. And it's all surrounded by the energy of the sun sign, which is Gemini. We're coming into the sun sign Gemini just in a few days. I believe we're on the 21st of May. And so Gemini is the ability to take in the big picture perspective, all these little details and pieces of seemingly disjointed information, and to see it all with detachment. So Gemini is able to just hold the perspective without having to make a decision about what that data means, just seeing the big patterns. So you could say in a way that this week is about us having a lot of fearlessness, a lot of expanded perspective, big picture perspective, without a lot of attachment to how that's going to play out. I call that really an ideal time to do some visioning, to get creative, to really see the big picture of your life, and maybe to do some strategic planning, because you may be in the mood. Ooh, look at that. Sun and the spiritual warrior. Yeah, Sagittarius is the spiritual warrior. So that spiritual warrior part of you may really be in the mood to see the greatest potential and maybe even to design a path towards that. Especially this weekend, I really feel like we're potentially going to be in the mood to strategically vision and plan. And you don't need to come at it with your usual, kind of overwhelm or being very perplexed about all the chaos out there in the world. You can come at it almost from a higher bird's eye view of detachment. So let's see how the cards reflect that possibility for us in each part of our daily lives for this upcoming week. So here we have in the house of the personality, the self, and the ego, we have Queen of Pentacles, a real magnetizing energy, a real grounding, magnetizing aspect to our lives this week. I'm going to expand out a little bit. So, it makes it so small, but at least I can fit all the cards in. Okay, so we are grounded, we are resourced and feeling like we have enough to tackle this week, and that we deserve to receive. So this is a very receptive energy, the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, Two of Swords in the house of Taurus. What are we actualizing? What are we manifesting? What are we materializing? It's almost like we're less concerned waiting, just holding space, stepping back to get a bigger overview perspective. We're not as concerned about exactly what it is that we're manifesting. I think this is great because I'm going to be sharing with you here in a moment that there's an awesome manifestation workshop happening through Beyond Mystic this coming week as well. So wait for halftime and I'll put that up on the screen. We're waiting in a way on specifics about what does that look like? Resources, money, security, our material possessions, our material pleasures. We're saying, I'm willing to wait, hold off on knowing exactly what that looks like, but working on the energy of attracting, being the money magnet. She is the magnetic queen. She attracts that. So magnetizing wealth, prosperity, resources, abundance. Cool. Okay, Gemini. Woo, a really good Gemini card in the house of Gemini. We have the Six of Swords. It is a communication card. It, the tagline, moving out of troubled water. You see this character is literally ushering these people that are in their care out of troubled water. So how they do that is through clear communication. It's like having a clear path from A to B is what I'm hearing. So somehow we're designing a clear path out of troubled water, and that gets back into that energy that I was speaking about at the beginning, the Gemini energy. We are literally able to see our way through troubled water this week. We're able to strategize in our minds a path. Okay, cool. Let's go to the house of Cancer, home. Oh, so lovely. We've had in this house in the last month or so, it hasn't really super felt like very nurturing or comforting. The home hasn't really felt like a sanctuary. I don't know what's going on astrologically this week, but we may really feel like we want to hunker in and find sanctuary at home. And you may really experience a positive, I want to say, restoration or recuperation. Some aspect of being at home is going to feel really nice this week. So indulge creating a bit of sanctuary, whether it's just creating a little space and time to do some visioning, to do some strategic planning about the big picture. As I was saying before, with that Sagittarian full moon energy, you may see roots opening up creatively in your imagination that you've possibly thought about before, but you didn't see how they were going to come into play. And right now, you could be strategically noticing how these things are opening up for you. Now, it might not be things that you act on right this week, but it's the ability to see the lay of the land. Oh, wow. Okay. So in Leo, the house of Leo, which is, it's our extroverted part of our personality. It also has to do with our, like what we're open to receiving. Interestingly, this house is associated with romantic interests. And the Lovers, as we assume, has some romantic aspect to it. So this could be a week to find new partnership, to find new relationships, also to make choices. The Lovers card is a lot about our big choices in life. So there could be some really big choices related to partnership, relationships, romantic interests, and so on. Whether you're in a relationship, you're making a decision to either go bigger or make some changes. And if you're single, this could be a really powerful week to attract someone ideal. Okay, let's go into the house of Virgo. The house of Virgo, it's where we are usually, I want to say, fixated on all the little details of life. It's sort of like cleaning up the mess in the kitchen after you've made the big the big meal or entertained guests. Well, this does not look like a week for details. It does not look like a week for cleaning up after ourselves. It does not look like a week for like fixating on getting a lot of those practical things done. People sigh and moan when I say 2 or 3 weeks in a row, okay, we're really getting down to business and getting a lot of that paperwork and the little detailed stuff that a lot of us don't like done. Well, this week you get up to relax on that. Now, that doesn't mean that you drop all your responsibilities, but it does mean that you just kind of zone out a bit. You zoom out to the bigger picture and not be as fixated, because we got the Queen of Wands there. She's creative. She's got that Sag kind of energy about her. So she's probably not going to want to scour the corners of the kitchen this week. Okay, let's look at Libra, partnership, balance. Libra to me also represents karmic things coming around and going around, and energies here this week. 6 of Wands, the little victories, counting your little victories. Interesting. There's another energy around moving towards a connection, because we have a number 6 card here. Lovers. I spoke about partnership. I spoke about attracting someone. And then we have the 6 of Wands in the house of relationships. So there could be moving in the direction. Again, I talked about how Sagittarius full moon could have us feeling courageous, stepping out of our comfort zone a little bit. You may move towards someone that you're interested in, or someone may be moving towards you. It's like we're going to be kind of in our bravado this week. Look at that, Queen of Wands next to the 6 of Wands. There's quite a lot of confidence to make our moves. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, for all you tarot readers out there, check this lineup. Queen of Wands, 6 of Wands in Libra, and the 2 of Cups in Scorpio. Let me just see if I can shift the camera a wee bit so we can get a little bit more of that going on. Oh yeah, all right. Actually, I might even, yeah, you can get a better look at it there for a moment. 2 of Cups is kind of like the divine union, soulmate, partnership, love. We've got Lovers here, 2 of Cups here. This is in Scorpio, which is endings and new beginnings. So there's definitely love is in the air here, folks. Love is in the air. That's pretty exciting for all of us who are single. And yeah, there's a feeling of the courage to connect, and also really a lot of heart walls coming down this week, I feel. It was interesting. In a reading this week, I tuned in with someone's guides, and they were saying, wow, this person feels like they've been alone for a long time. And they're going, I don't know if really there's anyone out there for me. And what was being shown is that we're moving out of an old paradigm around partnership and relationship, that old way of doing things. And I was hearing, it's a kind of been a somewhat patriarchal dominant sort of model of relationship and partnership for a really long time. And we're assuming prior to that, it was a matriarchal model. And what I'm hearing from the guides is that we're moving into something that's neither of those in the future. A uniarchal model or something of that nature that hasn't really fully come into being yet. So many of us have been held back from getting involved deeply in partnership, because if we got really deeply involved and we're good, open-hearted, spiritually evolved people, we would probably really put in a great deal of effort to work in those relationships. They would be built on the foundation still of that old system that's shifting. So what I was shown is that we haven't really activated the new way of having a relationship, which just feels like it's going to be so much more balanced and a lot of personal autonomy, freedom, and yet also really beautiful, returning to some really beautiful heart-centered, deep values of devotion and commitment. So very interesting that we're seeing, what I was being shown in this reading is that it might still be a year, 2, 3, possibly before that new wave of relationship style has really launched energetically. And so we're being all sort of held back a bit in terms of getting deeply involved until that's going. Yeah, a new balanced relationship paradigm. And so the good news here is that I feel like somehow we are knowing that, and yet it's still okay to start to make connection. It doesn't mean that we're going to rush into an old style of relationship. We're also not going to rush into the opposite of that. Like, okay, I don't want any commitment. I want open relationship. It's like the choices, these two roads that we've been given, neither of them are really feeling like they suit where we're headed. And so even though we may have to wait a little while for that next wave to really start to gain momentum, we can start to connect very genuinely, very, I want to say, innocently, really even possibly this week. So, wow, isn't that amazing? Oh, there's a lid for every pot, right? And we're cooking on a whole new system. So even if we found our lid, we have nowhere to cook right now. We're waiting for the new system to be born. So I'm quite surprised and delighted how much relationship has dominated this particular overview so far. We're about at the halfway mark. I want to bring your attention back to looking at, if you'd like to book a session with me. There we go. Psychic tarot reading, card reading with ASHALA. I went onto my schedule and it actually looks like I do have some appointments available in July. So jump in there if you're interested. You can use the coupon code below to save 10%. Also, I'm really excited to tell all of you, I'm just going to go over here and open up this other tab. There we go. I'm stoked to tell all of you about this. So basically, get ready to elevate your abundance game to new heights in part 2 of Manifest Abundant Instantly with May Levy. So you can reserve your spot on the Beyond Mystic Academy right here. And you're going to find links in this. I'm trying to do tech stuff and talk at the same time. Okay, bear with me, everybody. You're going to find links in this live down below where you can go on and sign up for that course. And I just think it's so interesting that here we are looking at abundance and manifesting, both abundance in material things and also in new connections, new quality of relationships and connections. You know, abundance and energy manifestation and attraction is similar, whether we're talking about resources, whether we're talking about relationships, whether we're talking about opportunities. So much of it has the similar energy. Let's keep going and see what else is in store for us this week. Okay, this is our first little hiccup. And interestingly, wow, it's in the house of Sagittarius. I find that so curious. So, Eight of Swords, what do we know about this? It has to do with we have been fenced in by limiting beliefs. Hello, does that resonate with any of you? I mean, gosh, pick a topic, right? It's all over the place. Limiting beliefs, limiting programs that we were raised with and trained with, and so on. And so you notice this character, she's kind of surrounded by these swords, right? In a way, she's almost fenced in by these beliefs. You could say that she's actually planted those swords there. Nobody forced her into those beliefs, but she was highly programmed. It was highly suggested that she adopt those beliefs, or she wouldn't kind of fit in to the status quo narrative that we've all been raised with. These beliefs, you know, this card is really about removing the barriers of limited belief that you've adopted consciously or unconsciously in your life. And the cool thing about this card is that you see her bound up and she's actually even got like a blindfold on, but apparently rumor has it that her hands are free and she can untie herself. And then she can literally either walk away from those swords or remove them. So limiting beliefs in the house of Sag, full moon in Sag this week of all the months of the year, it's now limiting beliefs being removed or released so that we can bring that spotlight on limitless expansion, right? Sag is about literally blowing through all those limitations. So even though we'd love to see a really nice activated card here, it's almost like as we head towards really tapping into our sovereignty, into our freedoms, into our values, our spiritual warriorship, we end up banging into these walls that have been constructed around us of limiting beliefs. So this is a week to not only expand, but also bump up against the things that are holding you back and address them, analyze them, because the sun's in Gemini, the sign of analysis. So we are literally given the strength of that Gemini analysis this week to say, gosh, if there's ever a time to unpack some of these things around why do I have these limiting beliefs? You know, I actually don't feel that way. My soul is free and expansive, but somehow I find myself back in these almost like cages based on the programming that I've inherited or taken on. So this is a week to bump up against some of that in order to knock it down. Okay. Whoa. All right. Let's see if I can change the view here a little bit. There we go. So Wheel of Fortune in the house of Capricorn. You know, Capricorn and Sag up there in the high part of our wheel, they're buddies and they're very different. They're both really powerful, and Capricorn gets where it gets by playing by the rules. Capricorn is like, you know, you want to stand on solid ground. You want to build on solid ground. You get a solid footing before you take your next step. this does not look like solid ground. This looks like almost like jumping onto a whole new mountain for you Capricorn goats. This is like it's shifting one type of solid ground for a whole new level of solid ground. So this could be a week of really big up leveling to a new plateau of what you think is possible, especially around back over here with this Queen of Pentacles, manifestation, abundance, new types of security, new ways of being in relationship. All right, here we go. If I can just tweak this over a little wee bit. There we go. The Chariot in the house of Aquarius. So Aquarius is our friends, our allies, our networks, our community. Aquarius is also kind of futuristic. For some reason, this week, I get a real feeling that this is about technology, and it literally is about our stuff, like our computers, our phones, our cars. And I'm wondering if we're looking at changing. That it even also, I'm getting a real feeling with this around security, with our privacy, security. This could be a great week to start transferring some of your, accounts over to, secure. I'm gapping on the word. What's the word for it? Oh my gracious. You know what I'm talking about, like the proton mail and the more secure platforms away from the big baddies. So there's just something, it's not like a big scary thing necessarily, but I'm really getting a feeling that there's going to be a big mass migration this week away from the grid, particularly around our phones, our bank accounts, our email accounts, our internet accounts, all of that kind of stuff. Interesting, because we're talking about the full moon in Sag, which is about freedom, liberation from limitation, from restriction, Gemini, communication. So there we go. Get migrating, everybody. And the final card, the second final card of the week in the house of Pisces, which is our our dreams, our hopes, our dreams, our fears, our subconscious, our ancestors, our spirit guides. Well, this is a very practical card. So again, looking at this week as a time of establishing some practical ideas, particularly around new types of business, new types of bank accounts, new types of community initiatives, new projects, taking the risk to vision some of that and see the roads to direct you to that. You may not be quite in the place of taking the actual physical steps just yet, but it does feel important to do the research to know, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, how am I going to navigate off the system and rebuild in other platforms? Gosh, how cool is this, right? The final card of the week has us feeling inspired. It's the Ace of Wands. I like to call it the catalyst card. So this energy, this spark or dynamicism between Sag and Gemini. Gemini is across from Sag, right? They're across from each other in the wheel. They're what is called opposition in astrology. And that opposition creates friction. And in this case, Sag is fire and Gemini is air. So what happens when you put oxygen on fire is it ignites and activates. We still have a lot of solar flare activities, whatever your definition of where these are from, what they are about. Regardless of how you define them, they are having an effect, which is this catalytic frequency effect. And we can make use of that for our benefit. So allow this energy activation, Gemini and Sag, opening our minds, feeling very, I want to say, courageous, being willing to step out of our comfort zone, at least in our imagination and energy. Super great week for this. So lovely to see so many of you. I wish you a beautiful week. And I look forward to connecting with you here next week. Let's just quickly do a little run through of please like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic channel. And also, if you would like to have a session with me. Oh, did I not do the share thing? Oh, darn it. Okay, here we go. I hope you can laugh along with me, folks. I'm going to get better at this. There we go. If you'd like to have a session with me, psychic tarot reading with ASHALA, the coupon code is below. It's Beyond Mystic, all capital letters. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel, which is right here. And I look so forward to seeing all of you here next week. Have a beautiful week, everybody. Many blessings to y'all. Bye for now.